everyone. We're here with Jason Post. He's the Director of Public Affairs at Uber. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
It's good to be with you.
Propellify. All right, what were you doing here today, specifically at Propellify?
Well, we're participating at Propellify. We have a number of people from our New York City office, which is located right behind us over the river. And we attended a number of the exhibitions, and then I spoke from one of the stages about the future of urban mobility.
Right, this connection between self-driving cars, electric vehicles, and connected cities. There was no Q&A, so you didn't get any tough questions, so that'll be my turn. But how tough is your job right now? Uber's dealing with a couple of issues, public issues right now. Grayball, lawsuit with Waymo, Travis Kalanick's personality, and then also claims of sexism in the work environment. So tell us about all of those issues and how that affects what you do every day.
There definitely have been headwinds. I think ultimately they're basically a catalyst to make the company stronger and more healthy. And those are improvements that the company is working on right now. I think what we're focused on our team is basically providing the best earnings opportunity for our drivers and an affordable, reliable ride for our riders, and making our marketplace the most desirable place for people to go, really to get a ride, order food, and all these other things.
But in terms of those issues, which one is Uber most focused on fixing first?
I think that one of the things that the board, including Arianna Huffington, who's the director of Uber, is asked the former Attorney General and his law firm Covington & Burling to study all these issues, including culture and all the things that you mentioned, and have an independent assessment of them. And they're going to prepare a report, which is going to be delivered, I think, in the next month or so, to heal a lot of the things that we've faced.
So you're going to do the assessment first and then determine what the priority of the issues are?
Yes, so we'll take the recommendations of the report from former Attorney General Eric Holder.
Right, but in terms of the actual issues themselves, you're on your way to fixing them, or they're being fixed, or you're waiting for the assessment in order to fix them?
I think that some of them are being reviewed independently and will be fixed that way, and some of our culture, we're hard at work every day healing that and making the company a better company. In particular, one of the things we're focused on is, I think that as the company has grown, we have in some ways lost touch with one of our most important audiences, which is the driver, and we're working very hard to heal that connection with our drivers.
I want to come back to that later, but can you give us an update on the COO search right now?
The COO search is underway. It's not something that I work on directly, but it's something that I think is a focus of our senior leadership. So I don't have a specific update other than it's a very active search. It's
actively being searched while you're doing the assessment on all the other issues.
Correct.
So it's not being deprioritized or being kind of brought into all of the other assessments.
Correct. It's parallel to the Holder report is a search for a COO.
Are there any candidates, short list of candidates that you guys have?
I've read some of them in the paper, but it's not something that I'm working on and I'm privy to.
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about then this driver satisfaction issue. You have a company that has two sides of the equation, the drivers and the customers. Give us an example of a product, a feature that actually serves both of them very well and what you want to do more of.
Well, in the Uber platform, it used to be that a car had two states. It either had a ride or it didn't. But we've introduced technology called Forward Dispatch that has a third state, which is about to be available. So if a car is heading to, say, a restaurant and someone's departing the restaurant and it has a passenger in it, we'll send a trip request to that driver so that someone will exit the vehicle and a new person will get in. In fact, my Uber to Propellify, someone was coming to the Uber office, got out, and I got in the same vehicle. Why that's good? It's better for the rider because there are more vehicles available, and it's better for the driver because his or her time is more efficient, because the Uber driver is making money when there's someone in the vehicle. When there's no one in the vehicle, they're not making money. So we want to increase that first window.
Well, there's some other complaints that drivers have too, tipping not being available very easily at all, and then also the idea that Uber, the black car service, there's just not as much demand. So how are you addressing those driver concerns?
I think that we're getting better at listening to our drivers, and I think we've done a lot of that work in relation to the economics of driving and the second issue you raised, the Uber Black service. So that we've taken steps to try and increase demand on the Uber Black.
How are you doing that?
Service. We have an advertising campaign. We did a partnership with American Express to advertise the Uber Black service. We put in New York a ratings threshold to make the service more premium, but the consumer demand is really in the Uber X product.
Right. In some sense, you are doing something that Lyft has already been pretty good at doing, your competitor here, which is servicing the low end of the market. You started out with the high end, and you're now moving toward this lower end. How successful has that been for Uber so far?
I think that the marketplace is very healthy, so the business is growing. It's a testament to our ability to attract and retain the drivers that choose to partner with Uber and the riders that want an affordable, reliable ride.
And what do you mean by riders who want the affordable ride? I mean, sometimes it's hard to compare prices when you're in the app with, while you're trying to get a cab maybe, or use Lyft at the same time. So how can you guarantee riders getting the best fare possible?
Well, we don't guarantee the best fare, but we do give an upfront price. We guarantee the price in the Uber app. So you can compare options between Uber Pool and Uber X, and then Uber XL, which is a larger capacity vehicle, or Uber Black, the premium luxury service. So we've introduced a new feature called upfront pricing, where there's no more variability. And when demand is higher and you have surge pricing, we used to ask riders to do the math in their head or estimate the price of the ride, and we no longer do that. And the response to that has been favorable.
And what are some other things that you're doing to improve the customer experience? Customer safety has been a concern. We've seen stories about unsafe conditions that have been reported, and this idea that drivers aren't vetted. So what are some things that you're doing now at Uber to be able to improve on those?
Drivers are vetted. Every driver goes through a background screening, and compared to other modes of transportation, we do layer technology into before, during, and after every trip. And we've added new features such as the ability to text automatically your ride receipt, including GPS location and driver name, to up to 5 people with the touch of one button. And
to kind of share your location, to make sure everyone...
Exactly.
Right, but I guess your critics would say the vetting doesn't go far enough. What do you say to that?
I think that we would disagree with that. So no background check is perfect, and if something can happen in a city, it can happen in an Uber, and that is not in dispute. No one could say that you could prevent any incident, but what you can do is use technology to reduce the amount of incidents and to have the best background check you can. Ours stacks up very well against any other. No check is perfect, and no check can predict someone's future bad behavior.
Okay, and then it's talking about the future too. When you look at the emergence of self-driving technology, you're testing in San Francisco, you're testing in Pittsburgh. You just went on stage to talk about the future there. Some drivers may be concerned that they may be making a living now off of Uber driving cars, but as soon as these self-driving fleets hit the road, they will lose that source of income. So what is your response to that?
So the technology is very nascent, and I think that there will be a person behind the wheel and a need for human drivers for a long time to come. And the transition from a human driver to self-driving is going to be gradual over time. And there are a lot of people that are in this occupation or choosing to earn money this way, but there is turnover. So the people that are in electing to earn money through driving won't necessarily be the same people in the future when autonomous technology is more widespread. And Uber faces a choice that we can either be part of the development of this technology or let it happen to us. A lot of different companies are working on developing the technology, and there's a consensus that it's likely to reach a stage where it's going to be adopted. So we face a choice where either try to be a leader and shape how it's developed or let it happen to us. We chose the first option.
And how do you want to shape it? What's Uber's vision?
There are really, we think, 3 parts: that rides are shared, autonomous, and electric. If everyone has their own self-driving car that's in their driveway at night and in their office parking lot during the day, the societal benefit is much less. It's not actually helping that much. And think about if the rides are shared, the impacts to traffic and urban design, where all the public space we give over to parking can be turned to other uses.
Right. If it's nascent now, when will the turning point happen? So when will we get that clue to say, you know what, I've been driving this many hours a week, and depending on this income, I should cut back because I see the tides are changing?
I think that I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know that anyone knows, but the technology is still nascent. It doesn't work well in bad weather, and there's a lot of scenarios that it hasn't been trained to encounter or deal with.
Okay, well, you released your financials for the first time, and most people were happily surprised to be able to do that. Are we going to see more transparency from Uber going forward on this front?
I think that the company elected to disclose certain financial information, even though we don't have an obligation to do so, and I could not speak to whether we would do it again in the future. I think it would depend, but it's not something that I have insight to, whether we would repeat that practice.
You'll celebrate your 10-year anniversary next year. Is that going to be the best time to IPO? You've booked about $20 billion in your bookings last year. You're still not profitable yet. So what's the goal first, to get to profitability or to go public first?
I think that I would not put the goalpost on that, to have a liquidity event or to achieve profitability. I think that you want to restore trust with drivers and operate the best ride-sharing network and technology platform we can. All those other things will flow from that. So those things may happen, but the thing that we focus on is making our product the most efficient, the best earning opportunity for drivers, and affordable, reliable rides for riders.
Are you funded well enough to be able to do all of those things? I mean, with the liquidity event, you could potentially raise that money to solve all of the problems.
I think the strategy is to focus on also developing technology like self-driving, our Uber Eats business. We launched a new business today called Uber Freight. It is available in the App Store, which is basically a freight brokerage for independent truckers, which is a fascinating business, and to give those truck drivers a way to book their own rides through our platform. So I think that the growth of the company and the trajectory of the company is very healthy.
Okay, all right. Jason Post, thank you so much for joining us. He's the Director of Public Affairs at Uber. Back to you guys.